Hey guys, welcome back to Guys Stuff. Today I have another really awesome recipe for you guys. I'm going to do my world famous kebabs. I'm spilling the secrets. Now this is a recipe, I got to tell you a couple things up front. Number one, it's not cheap. This is something that I only make on very special occasions. I'm making it right now because, man, I haven't had it in a long time and I'm just craving them. Or I'll have them over if I have a few guests over for dinner and a movie and that kind of thing. I don't do this for parties, all right? It would run you a fortune, but it is something really special if you follow my instructions. Now, there are some ways you can make it a little cheaper using cheaper cuts of meat and that kind of stuff. My advice is don't do it, all right? It just doesn't work out that well. Now, let me run through what we're going to be doing here. There is a lot of prep for it. The cooking is really easy. It's not a long smoke or anything like that. It's just done directly over the coals. But there are some things we have to do ahead of time. One is make up my special mix, my special rub, my special seasoning. And that's this guy right here. This is my special Cajun barbecue seasoning. And I'm almost out of it. I make big batches of it. And then I put it in all kinds of stuff. I'm going to be doing 2 different rubs on this recipe because I'm going to be making 2 different kinds of kebabs, but you can do any combination you want. I'm going to be doing a surf and turf, and I'm going to be doing Cajun shrimp. So the Cajun seasoning is going to be going on the shrimp, and the surf and turf is just getting this guy right here, this straight Grill Mates Montreal steak. This stuff is absolutely fantastic, especially on any kind of beef, especially on seafood. You know what? I even put it on some chicken. It is just fantastic. And a quick note here on why belonging to Sam's or Costco, it pays for itself if you're into food or cooking or any kind of stuff like that. All right, let me show you an example here. Here I've got a little canister of McCormick ground mustard. Probably got this at Walmart, or maybe I got it from the local grocery store. It's your standard little bottle of spice that you get in the spice section at any grocery store. And these are about $5. All right, nothing special. I got a whole bunch of different little bottles like this. Okay. This is 1.75 ounces. There are a lot of them that are about 2 ounces. We'll call it 2 ounces. This guy is 29 ounces. This was also $5. All right. The basic Sam's membership costs $45 a year. You buy one of these, you've paid for your membership. I buy a crap load of these because I go through a ton of spices. I've got paprika, same deal, $5. Cayenne pepper, same deal, $5. Onion powder, garlic granulated powder. I got taco seasoning. I got chicken seasoning. I got red pepper flakes. All right, each one of these saves you $30 to $40. Each one. It's crazy not to have the membership if you're into cooking, or you are going to be spending a fortune on these little stupid spice bottles. Absolutely ridiculous. The only ones I buy in this size are the ones that aren't available in the big size. Pretty much anything that's commercially used that a restaurant would be using, they sell in the big, huge containers. Dirt cheap. I've never seen any of these more than $10. They're all between $5 and $10. So just a quick tip there. So we're going to be blending some of these. We're not going to be using this. This is what makes my special rub. We're going to be using equal parts of these 3, thyme, oregano, and onion powder, and equal parts of these 5. Fresh ground black pepper. Do yourself a favor and use fresh ground pepper. Get the solid corns. I got to refill this. I got another. Oh, that's another thing. Where did my peppercorn go? Oh, hello. Where'd it go? All right. Anyway, I got a big old container of peppercorns, and I got to refill that and grind. But do yourself a favor and use fresh, not a little box of the powdered pepper. Totally different flavor. The fresh stuff, oily, flavorful, zestful, day and night difference. We're going to be using coarse sea salt. I love sea salt over iodized table salt. It just has a much better flavor, especially on meats. We've got garlic powder, paprika, and cayenne pepper. We're going to be using equal parts of these 5, 10 to 1. So you can mix up whatever kind of batch you want. You can do quarter cup, half cup. It would be like a quarter cup, 2 tablespoon, half cup, 4 tablespoon. You can do an eighth of a cup, 1 tablespoon, whatever size batch you want to do. So I'm going to be making up, I'll probably be doing a 1/4 cup, 2 tablespoon, and that usually fills up this tin right here. If I was going to double that, I'd use my my bigger one here, but that should be enough. That'll last me quite a while. You're only going to use maybe 1/4 of that tin for a whole bunch of kebabs. It's not like we're saturating like ribs or anything. But if you do ribs, if you want to use this on ribs, make a big batch because you will go through it a lot faster. So first thing we're going to do is make up that rub. There's nothing special. It's just measuring the stuff out, mixing it up, bam, put that aside. Then we're going to prep all of our meats. This is where the time really comes in. Now, I suggest 1 of 2 steaks, and these 2 only. New York strip or T-bone, period. All right, if you go cheaper, it makes a difference. And if you get them, make sure that they're normal or thick cut. You'll normally see them either just called New York strip, or they'll be called New York strip thin cut. Do not get the thin. You need them thick. These are about 3/4 to 1 inch thick, and you want them nice and thick because we want to cut them into cubes to put them on the kebab sticks. If you get them thin cut, they just kind of like fall apart and they don't cook quite as tender. So get the thick cut. I got 4 of them here. I'm doing a big batch because, you know, if I cook, I'm gonna cook. I don't mind leftovers. But 2 of these and some shrimp and the veggies that I'm going to show you. 2 steaks will make enough to feed, I want to say 4 people, maybe 6, depending on how you eat. But I mean, it makes a good amount. Like I said, I like leftovers, so I'm going to be eating these for several days. The shrimp, I'm going to be making 1 bag of these are probably going to go on all the meat ones. So this will be for the surf and turf, and then the other 2 are strictly going to be shrimp kebabs, and those 2 bags are only going to make, I'm going to say maybe 3 or 4 at the most kebabs, because those shrimp stack really tight. A note with shrimp, you have to use raw, do not get cooked. Get them peeled, deveined. That way all you have to do is take the tail off. Not a big deal there. You just rinse them off, pop the tail off. You can't work with them frozen. You have to thaw them, put them in the fridge for a day or 2 so that they're slightly pliable. I'm still going to have to put these in some cold water and let them sit in the bowl for about a half an hour to totally thaw so that I can pop these tails right off. You can cook them with the tail on, but they still need to be completely thawed so you can get the sticks through them. So make sure they're absolutely tender. And I'm just going to let these sit while I start prepping my meat and veggies and that kind of stuff. Bacon, man, bacon is super expensive these days. So shop around. It does pay to buy the bigger packages. This is a 3-pound, the biggest they had in the store. And it was something like 24 cents an ounce. Watch your prices, man. They had some that were over 40 cents an ounce. Just absolutely crazy, depending on the brand, thick cut or not, if they're flavored or not. No flavor is best, but you can get the hardwood smoked, anything like that. It doesn't really lend a lot of flavor to it, but all things being equal, get an unflavored bacon and do not use a thick cut. You want a normal. Other than that, we've got some green pepper and white onions. You can put other veggies on there if you want to. You know, you can do red bell peppers. That would be a nice little sweet kick to it. I just like the flavor combination of the steak with the green peppers and the onions. To me, that is a real great combination, especially with the Cajun spices on it. But for the surf and turf, they're just getting these guys here. Man, tell you what, those peppers really kick with that Montreal steak seasoning. All right, so I got a lot of prep to do. I'm going to go ahead and get to it. I got to thaw my shrimp. I got to grind a lot of black pepper. That's why I have an electric one. And for the meat, all I'm going to do is trim away any huge amounts of fat. I'm going to cut the meat from the bone and cut it into equal bite-sized cubes, chunks that are going to go on the sticks, and that's it. You don't want big chunks of fat. It's not going to totally render off, so you want it ready to eat, basically. And we're going to cook these medium to well at the most. That'll give us plenty of time to cook the bacon around them because they are going to be bacon wrapped. Each one of these and the shrimp are going to be bacon wrapped. So that's why it's not cheap. You can see it adds up. I mean, these 2 steaks, 14 bucks, 13 bucks. These I got on sale for $6 a piece. I got 3 of those. This was like 14 bucks for the bacon, which was a really good deal. Stupid veggies weren't cheap either, man. They were like $1.40 a pepper. It's crazy. Onions were like $1 a piece. So, and if you have to buy spices all at once, I mean, you know, there's an expense too. Luckily, I've got some, so I'm gonna get to it. Let's go. Okay, for your onions, here's what I suggest you do. Cut the ends off of it, cut it in half, and then I take the first complete layer of onion itself completely off. Not just the skin, but I get rid of that first outer layer because they can get a little tough. So chuck that, then cut them in quarters, then chuck the insides of them. What you're left with are about 4 nice big quarter chunks. And so that's 4 times 4 times the number of onions you get. It gives you a lot of pieces of onion. And remember, this is in conjunction with all the green pepper we're going to use. And we're going to use more green pepper than onion. So that gives you these nice big bite-sized chunks. And they'll shrink a little bit on the grill. But that way they about match the size of your shrimp and your steak. And they hold together really well. The little ones on the inside, well, they're just not very useful. And even this outermost one here is just as tender as these guys on the inside. So that's my suggestion for onions. Green peppers, real similar too. What I do is I first cut off the tops and the bottoms just to get rid of the curved parts. It leaves you with this guy here. Reach in, scoop out all the inner bits, just rinse out any seeds. That leaves you with a nice ring of flat pieces that you can cut up into nice bite-sized chunks ready to go on the kebabs. And we'll toss all the veggies in there together. That's it. Okay, now for the good stuff. Now these are New York strip. If you're using T-bones, they're going to be pretty similar, just a little bit more work. With the New York strips, with whatever cut of meat you're using, you've got to get them real lean. That's why it's important that you use a high-quality cut of meat, so it's got the marbling in the meat itself. That's what's going to give you your tenderness. But we're trimming away all the fat around the sides. All right, you are going to be throwing away a little bit of the baby with the bathwater. Don't worry about it. Okay, trim all this up. You got a little streak going through the ends here on the New York strip. Just peel him away. This will give you one chunk of meat there. And then continue. Just trim all the fat off. It comes off real simple. So you're ended up with just a nice clean cut of meat. Here's that little guy in the end after you just trim that little bit off. Then what I do is I cut it in half and then just cut it into chunks. And that's what you're looking for right here. These about inch by inch chunks. Nice, good bite size. You can see how thick they are. That's the standing up there. And those will be absolutely perfect for kebabs. So I'm going to cut up the rest of these steaks here and we'll be ready to put them on the sticks. Okay, more work. This is a recipe that has a lot of prep, let me tell you. Okay, by the time I was done prepping the meat and the veggies, I had the shrimp just soaking in cold water and they're completely thawed. Pinched all the tails off of them. They're good to go. Now, what you want to do is take the bacon out of the package and cut them all in half. Each piece of meat and each piece of shrimp, and we're going to run out of bacon, but we're going to do as many shrimp as we can, gets a half a piece of bacon wrapped. So, boom. There we got one piece of steak wrapped in the bacon. I strongly suggest you do this as an assembly line. So what I'm going to do is wrap all the meat first. We absolutely want to make sure we get each one of those bacon wrapped. That's prime importance. The shrimp can be excellent without the bacon. So we're just going to use whatever bacon we have left, wrap as many shrimp as we can, and then the rest of the shrimp just goes straight on with our Cajun mix because it is fantastic. But here's a shrimp that's wrapped up. Now you can see why it's important to spend the money on the shrimp. This is, like I said, the bare minimum size shrimp that I would recommend. If you want to splurge, I mean, it's going to double the cost of your shrimp. Get the really big ones, and they'll stick out and they'll look just like the meat. But the mediums barely are big enough, you can see it in there, to fit the bacon. All right, so medium or bigger shrimp, and it's going to work out just fine. So what I'm going to do now is wrap all the meat. I don't know how many pieces I got there, probably about 30 or so. It's going to take easily half my bacon just for the meat, and then I'll probably get through maybe a quarter of the shrimp with the rest of the bacon. and then we will start assembling things onto the sticks themselves. If you want to do it piece by piece, you can. You can take a stick right now, put on a veggie, wrap a piece of meat, put on another veggie, put on shrimp, put on a... It's going to take you longer, trust me, because you're going back and forth, you're putting things down, you're picking things up. If you get into an assembly line, wrap all the meat, wrap all the shrimp, have everything set out, a couple plates full of the wrapped stuff, plate full of veggies, and then you're just do. Believe me, it goes faster. So, I'm going to get to it. Got a lot of work yet. Oh, the steak is wrapped. Almost out of bacon. What I did here is at the end I cut the half of the bacon chunk into quarters, but just because these shrimp are a little bit on the small side, so quarters are wrapping a little bit better. So I'll finish up what little bacon left with the shrimp. Now it's time to actually assemble. Now you can do this any way you want. I like to cap the ends with the onions and alternate the meats, put a veggie of your choice in between each. And on the sticks you want to go and leave yourself a good 1.5 inches or so on either end. That way you can pick them up on the grill and you don't have to worry about stuff sliding off the end as much. And that is really about it. I suggest putting them in a pan because we're going to be seasoning them right after everything is assembled. But I need to start assembling just because I'm out of room, because I got a tiny ass little kitchen. Let's go. Okay, got the surf and turfs done. These are a combination of the steak, bacon wrapped, the shrimp, and all the veggies. Now what we want to do is take our steak seasoning and give these real liberal sprinkling. Flip them over. I'm going to do this for each one of them. Believe me, this stuff tastes awesome. Just a nice hefty coating. You don't want it like a dry rub, but you want it on there. A lot of it's going to come off when the bacon renders. Carefully flip these guys over. So I'm going to finish doing these here, and then we'll make up the Cajun shrimp. Got the shrimp all done up. Now we're going to use our special Cajun seasoning, and we're going to give it a real liberal dusting. Kind of hard with one hand here, but you get the idea. I'll flip them over. I'm going to run them through here and coat them nice and even, and they will be ready for the grill. Now, once you get all your seasoning on, you want to let them sit for at least a half an hour. This is where I'm going to go out, start my coals, clean the grill, get it nice and hot. We're going to use a full chimney out there. We're going to get it piping hot. These are going to go directly over the coals, and that'll be just enough time for this rub and seasoning to start setting up here. If you need more time, you can put some styrofoam over, or not styrofoam, saran wrap, and stick them in the fridge for at least a couple hours. I wouldn't go overnight, but a couple hours will do them good too. And that way you can prep these ahead of time and grill them up for dinner. Or you could do them overnight, I mean 12 hours max. I wouldn't do them 24 hours. So you could prep them the night before, you know, if you're going to do them like for a weekend or something, you could do it that way. But I'm just doing them for half an hour, just leaving them right out here, and they are perfect. So let's go get the grill ready. One full chimney hot coals, spread out nice and even. Now we're going to give the steak a good 10-minute head start. I want to leave a little space around the outside because that's where the shrimp is going to go later. You know what? I need two hands. Hold on. There we go. Got everything on. Give it a good 10 minutes. I'm going to put the lid on here. We're just going to let them cook on that one side for about 10 minutes. Whew, I need to get that dust off. And then we're going to come out and flip them. 10 minutes in, time to flip them. And of course, it's freaking raining. All right, looking good. I need 2 hands, so I'm going to flip these. Now I'm going to also put the shrimp on. And they're just going to go around the perimeter because they're going to cook pretty fast. Oh yeah. Nothing left to do now but eat and enjoy. Took about 40 minutes total. This is a little more than I usually make, so the grill kind of took a little bit longer. If you're doing this for 4 or 6 people, it's going to take about a half hour total. Look at that. Juicy, tender, just tears apart. Perfectly done shrimp, and oh man, that Cajun, that smells so good in the house right now. Perfect flavor. Gotta try this guy here. I got a little puppy helper. I think she deserves some bacon. Is there a puppy in here that likes some bacon? Bacon. Oh boy. Let's try it out. Perfectly done. There you go, guys. You want some awesome kebabs? Now you know. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, give me a thumbs up, and we'll see you next time.